We're here in the lovely city of Hereford, and we're asking the public, if you could ask God one question, what would it be?
I think if I got to see them, I'd ask, why don't you come and show yourself to everyone so we'd all believe?
I suppose the question for most Christians, and most non-Christians actually, would be, why does God allow suffering?
I guess if God is meant to be loving, then why does he send people to hell?
Do all religions lead to God?
What are you?
How do I know the Bible's reliable?
Well, I've heard Christians say that Jesus rose from the dead, but where's the proof in that?
In this episode, we're looking at the question, do all religions lead to God? So, Mark, do all religions lead to God? Do you know what? I think it's a very nice thing to say.
Yeah.
And I truly get that, and I understand that, because I felt that myself. I'm like, there's something that just doesn't feel nice to say one religion's right and one religion's wrong, and you've got it right and you've got it wrong. It feels nice to say.
Especially when you've got some really sincere people
exactly,
in those as well.
100%. People who are phenomenal and are in different faiths, who are smart people.
Yeah.
And it just, it's not. So it feels nice to say all religions lead to God, but there's a slight issue with that, because in being inclusive and kind, we actually end up disregarding people's faith and what they believe, because religions teach different things about God.
Yeah.
Right? So religions teach one thing about one God and one thing about another God, or Buddhism, for example, has no God.
Yeah.
Or Hinduism has 3 gods.
Yeah.
And so to say that all these religions lead to God, we kind of have to define, well, which God of which religion, and how does that work for Buddhism when there is no God? And do you know what I mean?
No,
and how do these all relate to each other? And so the idea that all religions lead to one God kind of falls apart when you think it through. And actually, in trying to be inclusive and kind, it feels the right thing. We end up not being inclusive and kind to the religions. And what's also interesting is that religions would teach different things about a relationship with God and getting to God. And actually, if we're going to say there is no thing we need to do to get to God, well, that means anything is permissible then. And my struggle with that is, I know that there have been cults out there that have done some horrible, horrible things, drawing people in and getting them to kind of commit mass suicide and some horrible stuff.
Yeah.
And we're saying that works. If all religions lead to God, we're saying that actually that works. Their religion, their beliefs, it worked, and they're with God now, and we'll be with God when we die as well. And it becomes something that's not actually quite nice and inclusive, you know?
No, I agree that. It's almost like we're coming from quite a naive standpoint by suggesting it, which I hadn't really thought through.
Yeah.
The other thing to take into account as well is I think it's impossible for everybody to be right.
Yeah.
It's possible for everybody to be wrong.
True.
But it isn't possible for everybody to be right. I've done quite a bit of research into all the different faiths. I actually put it in a small book, which isn't a sales pitch.
No, of course, because we don't do that here.
We don't do that here.
Do
but
that.
suffice it to say,
I
put it all together, and actually they're diametrically opposed. There's a few overlaps, granted, but key things about what they believe about key areas are just very, very different, as you've alluded to. So I think just by definition, it's impossible for all roads to lead to God. And it's interesting to say that all faiths, no faiths in fact, actually claim to get you to God. Christianity doesn't claim to get you to God. So why am I a Christian? Well, for me, it's not that Christianity's right and that everybody else is wrong. For me, it's Jesus. He's right. And therefore, what religion out there is most closest to the celebration, the understanding, the seeking to live by, getting it wrong still, but the seeking to live by the teachings of Jesus. And that for me is Christianity.
Christianity does that,
And only Jesus actually claimed, interestingly, really to get you to God.
True.
It's this lovely little sentence that if anybody watching has been to a funeral, they will have heard this little sentence, part of a slightly bigger reading from the Bible, where Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And what people don't realize is that little phrase, I am the way, is straight out of the Bible. And it's a phrase that Jewish people in Bible times, let's say you wanted to go, I don't know, to the market, for example. If you went up and said, oh, could you tell me the way to the market?
Yeah.
They wouldn't give you a whole list of directions and instructions.
Okay, really?
Yeah. Because they knew you'd get it. You know what it's like. You forget what people have told you. You
true.
get the first turning wrong, and you've had it, haven't you? No, what would have happened is a Jewish person from Bible times would have grabbed hold of you by the hand and said, "I am the way." And they would have taken you to the market and would not let go of your hand until they got you there. So when Jesus said, "I am the way," he's not saying, "I'm going to give you a whole bunch of instructions." He's saying, "I'm going to grab a hold of you by the hand, and I ain't letting go of you until I get you to God and to heaven."
Wow, that's incredible. That is incredible.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Could it be possible then that Jesus is offering his hand to you and saying, "I am the way," and he's asking, will you accept? Will you be led by him to the way, the truth, and the life? We know that this is a big topic and there's lots more involved in this, and I hope that you're able to have conversations with the people around you, or pick up the phone and call someone and have that conversation with them. But if you wanted to know more about this, there's the Discover More section that's got books and resources and videos and people to look at that'll give you a more in-depth overview into something like this.